Let's roll. This is Countercharge, your podcast for ranks, flanks, and kings of war. Join your hosts as they delve into the world of Panithor and bring you worldwide coverage of all things Kings of War.
Welcome to Countercharge. I'm Matt Croger. In this episode, you'll hear our Saturday night question and answer with Ronnie Renton. It picks up shortly after the first question is asked. Apologies for missing the start of that. There is some mild censorship in here. I'll leave you to decide what is deliberate and what is not. Enjoy.
Clint's back because of 4. Yeah, I've seen him. But
I think there's lapse players coming back. We've had very strong sales. And interestingly, I respect the fact that you choose to do this. There's a choice. So if we upset you, and it's a bloody stupid thing to do for us as a business, because I need you to want to play this game. But at the same time, if we don't keep refreshing it and tweaking it and changing it, people get bored. People drift away. Lapse players don't come back. And so you have to be brave. And I think with Alessio, I said, rip the snipping plaster off. You're a very, very, very experienced games designer. You designed the original thing. You knew what our vision for it was. So let's do it. Let's go and do it. Not make an omelette without breaking some eggs. I don't know what he's doing with my speaker over there. So, yeah, from the people that have played it, everybody seems to thoroughly enjoy it. And that's what we set out to do. We will, over time, spice the armies up. But at this point, 45 days after we launched the game, there's been nearly 60 people in a room today. I've heard about 3 rules questions, which were very, very mild. Wow. If that's not testament to the strength of the game and the strength of the community, I don't know what it is. So, yeah, well done, everybody. Thank you.
Well, it helped you disappeared half the day, mate. See it in now. Here, it helped you disappeared half the day. So, all right. Do we have a question from anyone? Anyone got a question? Yep, Alexi.
So for my question, I'm kind of curious about army balancing in future. What I'm mainly looking at is obviously Alessio's come in. He's done an amazing job setting up the core rules. As has been mentioned, there's really not a lot of question marks other than a few really bizarre little ones that, look, there's always teething problems. With the actual army lists, though, obviously we've had expansion book 1 come out. I know I've sold like 40 of them and I still have more at home. God damn it. What is going on with the future books, though? Are we going to be having Alessio helping looking over that? Or is that going to be an in-house specifically for the, working out the list and updating them as we go?
Good question. Thank you. Question. So what's happening with future devs? So let's step back for a bit. Early last year, we decided it was time. Let's do that. Very early last year. And I said, the other thing is we now have these armies. Almost all of them have some plastics. Those that don't need plastics. So we're going to spread out. Those that need plastics are going to be the lead army. Zicali was obviously the first of those. Nature's going to be the second. If you understand the name of book 3 is Arrogance, you could probably guess which is the lead army there. And we've probably squeezed those plastic tools for 17 years. So the elves might be getting some steroids between now and then. I'm just bulking out a little bit. So all of a sudden, we're either going back and going, look, this is the look, but this is now the size and the scale of the. In every book, there's the second and third armies are ones that need a bit more spice. They need something that just makes them feel more them. Or, hey, let's give them this flavor and that flavor. So we'll tease it from the one army that's there now into 2. So it's not this year, but dwarfs. From 3, they've just gone back to dwarfs. There'll be 3 dwarfs and imperial dwarfs when we do the dwarf book. So, and then army 4 will either be something like the salamanders, which was our first all STL to attract the STL crowd. Say, come on, you lot, come and play Kings of War. Stop messing around. There won't always be one of those because we might actually, and I think in the second book we have 4 armies that we wanted to get round to, but they're either an STL army or an army where we go, you know what, the halflings are in absolute great shape. They've got exactly what they need in plastics. There's nothing obvious to do. Let's give them a new hero. Let that hero play that army in a different way. Let them have some fun this way. So that's kind of the template for the books. But and I was saying this to Matt earlier, if you are a super hardcore player that does not care about the world of Panithor in any way, I just want to turn up and play repeatedly, don't buy the books. Just take a subscription out. You will get more value out of that subscription because you can save 100 army list, you can play around with it, there's Math Hammer in it and everything else. Go there. Because what I'm allowed to do is if I know those armies and we've got the Zikali, for the first time, we can really, really, really concentrate on the world. And I was just talking with these guys down here about the plans we have. Pretty radical, pretty exciting. Yeah. So we're going to go. So these books are about putting the story on, building it up with a very obvious point where we can go, if we think something's a bit wrong, every 6 months, we will freshen it up. And once every year, we will go, let's do this. But because we're not selling the books like the Clash of Kings books became, for being a brilliant thing, it almost ended up being a burden because we were thinking, right, what can we do to change the game this year? And, you know, Command Dice, hugely popular, one of our best decisions we've ever made. So, I mean, how we kept them out of fourth, I've no idea. So we were almost doing things to make the book kind of feel like it was an event. Was actually, I would say, don't. We never will, but if we ever got to the point where we go, every army is absolutely fantastic in every single way, great, don't put any rules in it. Now, I don't think that'll ever happen. I think there's always going to be tweaking. Hey, shooting's doing this, not that. Okay, tweak that, da-da. But the intention is the book at the end of the year will be the one with the major changes in, because we're coming to the end of the event season. And then, this is the first major of the year. There's a few tournaments before. This is the first major 50, 60, 70 people event. I could consider it one of the majors. So this is the first, and this is the first major of 4th edition, so that you're ready by the time it comes out with the new points. You've had time to bugger around with your armies and tweak it and everything else and go, yeah, okay, let's play it that way. So Alessio is going to be working with us. He's doing the Ghost in the Shell roleplay game. So he's nearly finished that. Absolutely gorgeous. So if any of you are a Ghost in the Shell fan, watch out for that. Middle of the year, RPG, gorgeous.
Like the original Ghost in the Shell standard stuff?
Yeah, so we have the original, the license to all of the original manga, except 2 pages, which if you've seen the Japanese version, you'll know which 2 pages I'm talking about. So they are not in the license. And and there is just coming out in anytime now, a anime based on the original manga in the style of the original manga. So yeah, we're super excited about that. So that's going to be big. He's then helped us. He's helped support, but really recruited the guy who's rewritten Dreadball All-Stars, or who written Dreadball All-Stars, who I think some of you have started working out who that very famous games designer might be, but we couldn't get anybody bigger or more famous in that genre to write that game. So we're super pumped about that. And he's been working with him up in there. And then he's going to do the rules. So what's going to happen is when a rules thing comes up, Matt's going to sit down and go, this is a thing, what do we do about it? Because what he's very good at is writing exactly what we want it to say. And keeping that clarity and that elegance, which I think is a word I've heard a lot about, 4th, elegance. I think 1st and 2nd editions had it. I think with 3rd, if you played it, you played it. So in-house, there's someone in the room, I saw him earlier, who's on the Aussie representative on the RC. And so largely game balancing, you need to play all the time to understand what's happening. You need to be at these things. Kyle is that. So pure rules, Alessio, balance, army lists, tweets, rules committees. And I think that's a much better way to keep the 2 things. And you need the yin and yang.
And what we heard about from Matt before, I think, is that the books aren't exclusively to those 4. There will be opportunity to...
Oh, yeah. Good point. Yeah, they will balance whatever needs balancing then. And I think the biggest changes will be in book 2 of all of those May books. Because obviously we've launched with 28 armies, a whole new edition. And it was a revolution, not an evolution edition. It's still Kings of War, but there was the biggest changes there've been. So there's going to be things. There's going to be things that in our heads we thought would do this. And when you filthy buggers get hold of it, you've started doing that and that. We never saw that coming. And how the Christ did they doing that? So there is always some of that. So
I think there's other parts of the world that filth collects more densely.
you talk about Texas now,
I
are
think
you?
this is the word I use for you as well. You know, any more questions? Anyone want to ask something? So the question is, Ophidia when? Not book 2.
It might be the first army of edition 5. That's how far ahead we're planning. It might be. So there's a little bit of wiggle room in kind of books 5 and 6. Yeah, as we're getting to there. I think also what happens in our summer campaigns that are coming up. What happens? So we're going to do, I might get in trouble for this one. We're working on a skirmish game, Kings of War skirmish game. We might or might not be called Vanguard, but very characterful, very all the best of Vanguard, but all the best of a skirmish game. Not asking it to do so much. 2027, coming out 28, something like that. So depending on what happens, those are a great way for us to go. You know, that's what Vanguard was where Northern Lions came out and Night Stalkers came out of. You know, a lot of those armies have been meaning to do, or it came out of there. So we'll see. If it's in the skirmish game, then it's probably going to be this edition. But it's later on because we need to do the elves. Nation is doing. There's obvious some armies that the plastics just aren't up to the core units aren't where they need to be now. So you know that's what we're kind of chunking through and making sure every army can get you to 4, 5, 6, 7 units of plastics, bit of resin around the edge, and let's go.
And so the question was, did Champions do what you expected it to do or wanted it to do? And will the characters be available individually? Yep.
So I'm not as young as I look. I'm actually older than I look. And one of the things you find is that when a edition change is coming, and despite trying to keep it quiet, you never can. I knew that our Kings of War sales last year would fall off. Because no one's going to start a new army when there's a new edition coming. We also have about 8 armies with 4 or more plastic sets. And in 2023, we launched these ambush sets, which actually were selling phenomenally well, but they were only a stepping stone to Kings of War. A lot of people are playing those kind of low point games like midweek, just for fun. But it was people that played Kings of War were kind of going, let's get together and just play. And there's a whole lot of house rule stuff. So I think as a rules, it wasn't quite satisfying enough. Therefore, it wasn't really recruiting. It was playing down. So what we did with the champions, I said 2 things. Let's make the heroes slightly more OP in this game than they are in a game of Kings of War. Because it's them and their gang, and it's very narrative. Those champions are going to become the big named characters through the course of this edition. They are going to become the kings and leaders of their respective factions. So if you're playing with that, and if you're getting in this way, you'll be able to go on that whole journey with us. But if you just want to play champions, it's a great game. And it actually is a great game. So I think people play there. And I think there's Matt Schreiber in the US who's painted every single one of them. And he loves that size and scale of game. Now he's obviously gone into Kings of War because he can't stop himself. But that's how he got in. It was approachable. So I put it out for us lot to keep ourselves busy. And I did a Northern Alliance faction. It only took me 7.5, 8 months to get 4 units painted. But it takes some hobby boxes. It's a way of starting to do some stuff without doing the big thing. We will keep new ones coming out when the factions come out. But I also knew that when 4th comes out, a whole heap of people might want to get into Kings of War, and they might not want to go over there and buy a mega army or a full army because it's too intimidating. So it did what it needed to do, but its real value is going to be this year, helping us recruit more people. Because I want to come here in 5 years' time, and you've flooded this place and there's 120 players. So, yes, but there's a lot more coming. Alex is going to do a slow grow. If ever you've wanted to get your mates to play Kings of War, do champions with them. That's the way to get that next group of people, because it's not a lot of bucks. They'll start building dioramas on their bases and go, this is cool. And you'll go, yes, I've been saying that for 8 years, you idiot. And then they'll start, oh, go on then, show me a bit more. Go on then, here we go. And there'll be 10 more people here next year because of that. Yes, the heroes will be coming available individually. We will put them out and we'll put them on the STLs to print or to buy because they're now army list entries and we were waiting for 4th to hit to do that.
I thought he was going to deliberately avoiding that second bit, but he got to a...
Hey, we avoid nothing.
Kind of relates that. Are we going to get like new units along with those heroes when they get upgrades?
So the question is will we get new units along with the heroes?
Just one. The Axel folks, like that Axel character is the best, and I want that as a unit.
All right. So, yeah. So what you're asking is seeing like maybe a different character represented in the unit as well. So like that's an axolotl. So get an axolotl unit. Yeah.
Yeah. At the moment, the champion will be the champion. Their named character originally in the original plan, we had champions and here's their next things. But actually, it was more of here's things from the army list. We've actually decided we're not going to do that. The box is the box. That's how they play. Then everything's balanced as it is. And like you say, you either then stay there, you'll probably do 2 or 3 of those, you'll probably get some mates to play, or you'll scale up. It's a great way of, hey, I'm running Northern Alliance this year, but I've always fancied doing an Abyssal army. So I'll tell you what, I'll do the Abyssal champions and see if I like it, see if I like the paint scheme. But at the moment, there is no plans to add anything to any of the champions factions that have come out.
We've probably got time for 2 more questions before dinner's up. Alexi, again?
Perfect. Mine's a pretty straightforward one. So you mentioned, obviously, a lot of the Dimension books are covering factions that you want to have in your plastics and so on. Are you starting to shift more towards having multi-purpose kits in terms of, for example, Icekin Hunters can also be Western Zerkers. Over warriors can currently be, warriors or shooters. Are you angling more towards making more kits that are designed to give you access to multiple roles? We saw with the Zerkali, for example, every kit is essentially a dual build or more where there's a couple of options. Is that the plan?
Absolutely. Because absolutely, when you do plastics, A, they're expensive. B, they don't, it's not like resin, they don't break. In olden days, we couldn't get enough on the sprue, so we'd give you core type and then the arms would be in resin. And that's a suboptimal. It's much better that they're all on there. And then, you can build them whichever way you want to run them. And it's much cheaper for everyone to buy them, it's much easier for us to provide once we've got the tool. So the advanced tooling is allowing us to do it. And the way we can get more stuff on the tool, if you go and look, certainly at some of those mid tools versus now, the more of a core unit it is, usually the less options because you need 10 figures and they're going to be spec'd out this way. Sometimes you get 2 options. As you get into more of the secondary units or core or elite, then absolutely you're going to want dual uses on them because it also allows us to then use them in champions boxes. Because you can have a core, get those 2 and you're suddenly building a more interesting plastic army. So we're trying to get as much of the core in plastic as we can.
One more. And Ronnie will be here all night anyway, so you can always take out your nerd graphs.
I'll do a bit of a rant on them on the IP dev.
All right, so a lot of the excitement today and for the past and a half or so has been for Kings of War. I'm just curious about the other side of the coin, whether there's any particular big plans for Firefight over the next year.
So there's a double answer. So I think, interestingly, in the last year, the Mantic community has doubled. And at the moment, they're playing a game called Halo, the other half. But it's based on a game that we know and love, particularly you, called Headzone. So what this is giving us is literally in the US hundreds and in Australia tens of new accounts that are starting to stock and hold Mantic. Our distributors, instead of ignoring us and pretending they're not in, are actually buying and can understand So then we go back and say, hey, why don't you do Terrain Crate? You know, and that can go out to all those retail stores that sell RPGs. And then that money we take and plow into tooling. So that's kind of great for Firefight at some point in the future, but God damn it, what about me now? And that's valid because those people have been supporting our games for years and love it. And we love Firefight. We love Firefight and we love Dead Zone. So I set everyone a challenge a while ago saying, well, if our viewers and watchers go up, then we'll do Rebs for Dead Zone. And I genuinely thought that the Halo people would come in, watch all our videos, like us, subscribe, and we'd blow through those numbers. But for some reason, they kind of watch the Halo videos, but they've never come in. So that wasn't done. I looked at this year's release schedule and I said, we've got to do something for sci-fi. We had that great sci-fi summer. So last year, the year before, I forget. What was that? Yeah. And that's what nice because we actually did digital and physical at the same time. We'd done the tanks big thing before. So I said, look, we've got to do something. September, we picked Nameless because it does both Dead Zone and Firefight really, really well. One plastic core out the unit. So they are on the release schedule and we will done a ton of activities around it. And we will also take some of that out to the digital crowd because, you know, there's 500,000 people on my mini factories that are no longer playing 40K and they're not yet playing Mantic. But they will. And actually, Sci-Fi's a great way of recruiting them because we'll say, look, here it is, come on. Whereas with Kings of War, we're putting it out through stores, we're putting it out with you guys, you're all fully invested. This is a great way of us going, like we have with Epic, like we have with Armada, come and join us. And if next year there's someone that's printed a Salamander's armies and brought it here, we'll be like, welcome. Yeah, come aboard. So listen, last couple of plugs and then we'll go. So the IP is going to get exciting. I've been talking to Matt. We want to have these kind of events, and this is why Alex has joined us. He's going to start with a slow grow, building to a 2,000-point army, but we're going to have big events where we're going to be saying either this guy's dying or that queen is dying. Pick your side you're going for. Let's go. The map will change. The story will change. If you go back and look at the map in Book 2, second edition, and look at it now, it's very different. And those differences are you. The summer campaigns that have been happening, those stories. Now, Matt, in his head, has the whole world of Panithor. And I'm like, and these books are going to play out how the invasion of the Zikali goes. But the world is going to keep changing, and key points of the story, he doesn't know yet, but I'm going to kill a few of those major characters off. And you're like, hey, tough, because I think that's what lives with us forever. And then when we do the Vanguard, that will be a narrative within that. Dungeon Saga 2 will be a narrative within that. So I'm very, very excited that I think we've got a rule set in absolute splendid place. I was counting, because I'm a weird guy, how many people were in each different tournament down there. And I think this is the second biggest of the whole event. So there's G-Dub, and then I think this is the second biggest event. And obviously, because we're far superior to them, we have our own event. We do not mix with them. But Halo, which is a year old as a boxed game, but I think 6 months old as a war game, because it wasn't until war games came out, wasn't until Second Factions came out, we became a war game. It's going to be having a 16-person tournament, maybe 20, on Monday, and that's going to put it in the top 10. So, and it comes back to that question, we're in a very possible chance that 3 years from now, Mantic is the only other serious global gaming toy soldier company that's out there. And with some of the licenses we're picking up with like Assassin's Creed and Ghost in the Shell, which we're running as a separate, we just bring them in, Matt runs those. We've got a toy soldier business and we get the reach that comes with those things. So, touch wood, I'm hoping, but please come on that journey with us. Those that love just playing the game, play the game. Those that want to develop the IP, do that. And those that want to live somewhere in between, doing both, everyone's welcome. Bring your friends. Let's make it big. Let's do it.
Big round of applause for Ronnie. Yep. He's here all night. Yep. We'll make sure he sleeps well again.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Countercharge. Please let us know what you thought of the show by emailing us at counterchargepodcast@gmail.com, on Twitter @countercharge15, or by commenting on the Countercharge Kings of War podcast Facebook group. If you enjoy the show, you can help others find out about it by leaving positive reviews on iTunes. Until next time, keep countercharging. Music is a composition of Kevin MacLeod and is licensed under Creative Commons.